Hi, I'm Brandon Cahill, and today I'm with Diane, Ashley, Peyton, Allison, and Morgan. I want to start this off by going back about to the 1300s when the Black Plague was sweeping across our Earth, killed about 25 million people according to the National Geographic. Moving down the timeline, the yellow fever killed about 10% of the population of Philadelphia in the 1700s, building up to the last decade where the swine flu raised the pandemic alert, according to the WHO, or the World Health Organization, up to a level 6, which is the highest level pandemic that we could ever have. All of this has really led up and morphed into what I believe is a new disaster called Ebola, which most of you have probably heard of. So the origins of Ebola are a little unclear, but they started in the late 1970s in Africa. That's as far as we know. That was according to Stanford, where it also killed about 284 people in the first strain, and it had a mortality rate of about 53%, which is just absolutely ridiculous compared to all the other pandemics that we've had, like the Black Plague and everything, and just completely keeping up with those. The first strain was named after the Ebola River in Zaire, Africa. So it's a small country in Western Africa, and that's where Ebola actually originated, was that river, because people were getting it from that river. And through that river, it actually morphed into other deadly strains. There are 3 total that they know of right now, and those have actually increased into a mortality rate of 88% up until the latest one. So now it is spreading, according to The Guardian, and it was spread by fruit bats, first of all, and that was in Guinea. So they don't know exactly where the foundation of the fruit bats came from, where they contracted the disease, but that started in December 2013. So that is where our strain is right now. So over 4,000 people today have died in Africa alone, and as we have now been learning, and it's been spreading across most of the world, including now England and the US. So far, we have noticed that it has not been spread by anything airborne. It is only through body fluid or animals or needles. So that is what is a little disconcerting in our country, because in Africa they don't have the resources or supplies that we have here in America, and so they don't know necessarily how to take care of themselves or the people that contracted the disease, and it's getting a little bit rampant because they just don't have the resources. So like I just said, the first confirmed cases just happened in the US and also in Spain. Now on to the symptoms. According to the Disease Control and Prevention Center, the symptoms are a fever, a headache, muscle sores and weaknesses, also internal and external bleeding, so those could be hemorrhages or bleeding outside of the body. And finally, most of those symptoms are those of a normal cold or just an average everyday sickness that we can get here in America, so that's a little bit disconcerting as well, because we don't necessarily know if this could be a disease that is as deadly as an 88% mortality rate in Ebola, or just a normal, common, everyday cold. So that is what the doctors are attempting to kind of decipher right now and figure out exactly what to do to stop this, because right now they do not have a vaccine. As recently as a few weeks ago, Ebola has actually traveled to the US via Thomas Duncan, who most of you have probably heard of. He contracted the disease by helping a pregnant woman in his village in Africa. Through the bodily fluid of her, the notions are unclear of how that happened. He continued to the U.S. in Dallas, where he claimed he did not know where that he contracted the disease, first of all. So yesterday, actually, it was confirmed that his nurse contracted the disease as well. This is a major problem because in the U.S. we are known to be a place that can have a hold on diseases and pandemics such as these. So when somebody as skilled and as trained as a nurse in our home country contracts a disease of this magnitude, it is definitely a scare to not only me, but our whole society in general. Another concern was that Duncan was actually sent home from his Presbyterian, not his, but the Dallas Presbyterian Church. in Texas. And when he was sent home, he actually still had a fever of 109 degrees. So just a little bit crazy. Finally, going through the interesting facts, our hometown UNMC has the largest quarantine center and housing center in the country, and is currently housing 2 Ebola patients right now that are recovering. There are no known cures, like I had said before, but there are actually 2 potential vaccines that may come up in late November, so they're still working on those. And in Africa, when the disease was going around, there were actually just piles of bodies in houses and outside the streets, because when the vaccine, or when the disease takes over the body and kills the host, the disease is actually the most likely to spread after the host body has died. So it is very important to get proper burials and just helping with the people so that when they contract this disease, it is not as rampant and spreading as it was in Africa when it moves to these new countries. So it's not necessarily a bad thing that's moving to these countries, because we can't control people such as Duncan that need help. But it is a bad thing when we don't know how to deal with them and when they are releasing these facts. So it's important to make everybody knowledgeable about everything. Ebola's fatality rate today is at about 50% according to the World Health Organization. Like I said, I just want the people to know that it started in small villages in West Africa, now found in rural and urban places in Africa, and moved to the US. While Africa didn't have the resources to help itself, we do, and we need to link together in order to help these proper burials take place, to maintain surveillance, to help security, safety, etc., to, in general, help our people and protect our people as well as our world. And finally, care is conducted by rehydrating the bodies that were taken over, and some vaccines can mildly help the body, but no cures are completely bound to help right now. So we need to focus as a country on helping these bodies how we can by rehydrating them, by coming up to these vaccines and completely researching them before anything more happens. So the next speech will be on persuading people on my opinion on Ebola. So thanks for listening.